Please like and subscribe to channel if you enjoyed the video. My 21 male girlfriend, 21 female of 3 years has slept and fooled around with her best friend, 22 female, and now wants to be a throuple. I just want to start by saying FF a throuple to get things started. Those are only effective if they are chosen by the entire party at the outset. Also, I want to emphasize that I have nothing against her orientation. In order to provide some perspective, I am a postgraduate student at a local university who has been seeing his girlfriend since sophomore year. We were ecstatic at the time. There are no visible symptoms of dissatisfaction in the partnership. There are no traces of resentment. There is no remarkable distance. Excellent life. Everything went swimmingly. She has a best friend, 22F, who is always there for her to talk to. The fact that we all got along well and have very similar personalities and senses of humor meant that I had no issues with it. Her best friend is bi, but it never occurred to me that anything would happen between them. I know I'm stupid. I recently returned home for the weekend to spend time with family who happened to be in town. My girlfriend stayed because she needed to finish a project, which I understood. When I returned home, everything seemed out of place. She appeared to be a little off. She also wasn't interested in having, which is understandable given her high libido, yet it was a touch out of the ordinary given her low libido. I also noticed that she was spending a lot more time with her BFF than she usually did. My GF then asked that we bring her to the Thanksgiving party because her home life isn't all that wonderful. I agree, and I swear I felt like a third wheel throughout the process. It had gotten to the point that my brother wondered, who is she really seeing? When we eventually got around to having earlier this week, she insisted on doing so with the lights turned off, which she normally despises doing. I said yes, but my thoughts had already gone into high alert. I stood up and switched on the light, which revealed multiple hickeys and a bite mark on her A. I was halfway through when I noticed it. They are ones that I am aware of giving her. She burst into tears and disclosed all she had been thinking about. The weekend before I returned home, she slept with her best friend. They continued to play games with each other and even grabbed at each other when I wasn't around at Thanksgiving. She admitted that she had fallen in love with her BFF, but that I was still the love of her life despite her confession. After a little back and forth and me shedding a few tears, she holds my hand and suggests that we consider a throuple as a possible option. After a few moments of thoughtlessness, I took her hand away from me and begged her to leave my flat immediately. She pleaded and yelled for the opportunity to remain and speak it out. I gave her one last yell of "get the effing out," and she walked away looking completely demolished. I then went on to not speak to her at all for a period of time. She literally deluged my phone with calls and texts declaring how much she adores me and how she is unable to make a decision between us and how she would be crushed if one of us were to walk away from her life. Eventually, I responded to that text by telling her, "I'll make it easy for you, I'll leave your life, and you can have her," which prompted her to send me over 100 more SMS begging for forgiveness. It took me a while to agree to meet with her later today. She's planning on coming over. The guidelines for this rendezvous are as follows. First, I'm going to ask any questions I have concerning the affair that come to mind. Only then, if I haven't already urged you to go and put a stop to the situation, will I listen to what she has to say. Guys, I'm completely lost. I was head over heels in love with this girl. I still believe it. The fact is that I'm not going to be a choice. If she doesn't choose me, I'm not going to hang around and hope that she will eventually choose me. I've been suffering from a severe depression, which I've been coping with by drinking a lot of beer. What kinds of inquiries should I be asking? Is it better for me to cancel? Please assist me. My apologies for writing, if she doesn't choose me, I'm not going to sit around hoping and waiting for her to choose me. However, it was a rhetorical comment made in retrospect. I've already been rejected by her, so there's no point in trying to convince her to stay. That was simply an inadequate manner of expressing my feelings. Update. Before I get started with the meetup, I wanted to make a couple points quite apparent. I really didn't want to become involved in this. However, if it aids in the understanding of the situation, then so be it. I have difficulties with abandonment that date back to my childhood. This has resulted in a significant amount of anxiety manifesting in me. As a result, whenever anything like this happens, I feel The need to get together one last time. One final conversation to get everything out in the open. I don't want to leave any questions unanswered or be in possession of any information that I don't understand. Many of you may find this to be incongruous, yet sometimes people simply have different minds and different methods of living than one another. Believe me when I say that not meeting up with her yesterday and allowing my thoughts to wander would have left me even more damaged than not knowing all of the facts. I've gone in both of these situations previously. Now, let's talk about what happened. As she walked through the door of my flat, she appeared to have not slept in days. Her face is tired, and she has bags under her eyes. She took notice of her clothing, which were neatly folded beside the door. I gathered her belongings and escorted her down to her car, telling her that we would have a talk in the vehicle. Thanks, guys. I started thinking about my questions while driving. First and foremost, I inquired as to her orientation. She stated that she believes herself to be bi. This was the only time I was kind, as I told her that I was delighted that she had discovered herself and that I didn't want to stand in the way of her progress. Prepare for her to start crying and telling me that I wasn't holding her back, and so forth. I then brought up the subject of the Thrupple, which caused her face to light up. There is no doubt in my mind that she assumed I was in favor of it. My first inquiry concerned timing, namely when and how much time I would be able to spend with her best friend, have with her, and be alone with her. Her smile faded and tears began to stream down her cheeks as she stood motionless for a moment. There was no response. I then inquire as to what would happen if you two became more attracted to one another. Would you have just walked away and left me alone? Expect even more extreme sobbing in response to no response. While I'm enraged, on the inside, I maintain a cool and collected demeanor on the outside, while making eye contact that was only partially reciprocated. Then I said, essentially, you came to the conclusion that you have deeper affections for women. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nevertheless, instead of assessing them, talking to me, and getting through it, you betrayed me, did it multiple times, and smiled in my face, then brought this girl to my family's house where they cooked for you and treated you like a daughter for the last 3 years, and you disrespect me and them by playing grab A behind my back. What makes you believe that I'm the love of your life? This was the dagger, as it were. She completely lost her mind, I'm not British, and began wailing and sobbing uncontrollably in front of me. She kept emphasizing how sorry she was, how much she loved me, and how she was going to reject the triple date idea. I had at the end of my rope at this time. All of her belongings were in her car with us, and I really didn't know what to say or how to say it. I told her that I was glad she had found herself once more and wished her the best of luck in her explorations and the rest of her life. She attempted to reach across the car from the driver's seat to the passenger seat, where I was sitting, but I was able to get out of the car before she could. Taking one last look behind me as I walked back to the front door of my building, I noticed she was sitting with her face against the driving wheel, her forehead resting on the top of the wheel. Later that day, she sent me a long paragraph in which she profusely apologized, called herself various things, and told me that I had been a wonderful partner and that none of this was due to anything I had done, and that she understands if I never want to see her again, but that if I ever had a change of heart, she would love nothing more than to be friends with me. I was devastated. I just replied with a thumbs up iMessage reaction and then blocked her phone number, all social media accounts, her parents' phone numbers, and her email address from further communication. I'm standing here right now. I've been hurt, but I've also made strides forward. You were absolutely correct. I'm leaving, and I don't want to let this ruin my life any longer. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you. I couldn't have completed this meeting without the tremendous amount of information provided by the comment area. I wish each and every one of you the best of luck on your respective journeys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please like and subscribe to the channel.